But at the end, like Raphina, I never had a player like this because he's unbelievable.
Just a few months ago, Raphina looked like he was on his way out of Barcelona, struggling under Xavi, inconsistent performances, and fans calling for his sale. But now, he's suddenly undroppable, and one man changed him. Not Hansi Flick, but one player. Well, let's talk about that. Raphina under Xavi was not it. Like, I don't even know where to start. One minute he'd pull off some outrageous dribble, and the next he'd sky across into row Z like he was aiming for a rugby conversion. It was frustrating to watch, man. When Barca signed him from Leeds, we all thought we were getting this electric, high-energy winger who was going to cook defenders every week. I mean, the guy was a menace in the Premier League. But at Barcelona, under Xavi, it's like he was trying too hard to fit into a system that didn't suit him. Xavi wanted his wingers to stay wide, be patient, and wait for the perfect moment to strike. But Raphina, that's not his game. He's all about chaos, quick 1-2s, cutting inside, whipping in crosses, and taking risks. And instead of thriving, he just looked lost. You could see the frustration all over his face. One bad touch and he'd throw his hands up. A misplaced pass and he'd be shaking his head. Even when he scored or assisted, it never felt like he was the guy. And then there was the inconsistency. One game he'd be unplayable and the next he'd disappear. Barcelona fans were patient, but eventually people started asking the big question, is he Barca quality? And let's not even talk about his Champions League performances. Sheesh. There were times he'd play well and sometimes he would just fade away completely. If you didn't check the lineup, you wouldn't even know he was on the pitch. It got to a point where people were saying, you know what, maybe we should just cash in and move on. And honestly, I don't blame them. When you're playing for Barcelona, there's no room for maybe. Either you deliver or someone else will. It did not help that he was consistently looking over his shoulder, knowing that no matter how well he played after 60 minutes, his number was going up. At one point, it felt like Raphina was this close to getting pushed out. The club needed money, the fans weren't convinced, and with all the talk about signing new wingers, it looked like his time was up. And then, boom! Xavi's out, Hansi Flick's in, and suddenly Raphina looks like a different player. It's almost like taking the shackles off a racehorse. The difference? Trust. Flick didn't just give Raphina minutes, he gave him responsibility. He made him the guy, and man, has he delivered. This isn't the same Raphina who was yanked at 60 minutes. This Raphina, he's an absolute monster. Under Xavi in 2 seasons, Raphina had 14 and 15 goal contributions in La Liga. Decent, right? But nothing mind-blowing. Now, under Flick, he's racked up 27 goals and 19 assists in 41 games across all competitions. That's 41 goal contributions already, and the season isn't over. That's not an improvement, that's a rebirth. He's not just playing out wide anymore, Flick has used him as a number 10, an inside forward, even in free-roaming attacking roles. He's been everywhere, and defenses have no idea how to deal with him. Take a look at his pass maps and heat maps. This man is working everywhere. He's dropping deep, linking up play, driving into the box, and, most importantly, making things happen. His 100 shots this season, that's at least 12 more than anyone else in the squad, ahead of Lewandowski, Lamine Yamal, and Dani Olmo. But it's not just about the attack. Raphina is grinding defensively too. 45 tackles from an attacking position, only 3 players in the whole team have more. 2 of them, defenders. That tells you everything. And here's what's crazy. Flick knows he's important in terms of minutes played, only Jules Koundé has more. Raphina has started more games under Flick than anyone else. This isn't just a good run of form. This is a player who has become Barcelona's main man. I mean, who else can get this team a win with 10 men? Lamine Yamal might be the future, but right now, Raphina is the engine of the team. He's the guy driving Barcelona forward. And to think, just a year ago, fans were ready to push him out the door. And you know what? Raphina himself feels the difference. He knows he's playing at a different level. Just listen to him. I started the season with a different mentality, and I knew that playing in this club, I would have to adapt to playing in different positions. I'm really happy about how things are going. Before I was working at 100%. Now it's 200%. I want to give my best for the club. That's not just talk. That's a man who knows he's in the form of his life. But here's the thing, as much as Raphina deserves credit for this insane transformation, there's one player who's pushed him to even greater heights. One man whose influence has forced Raphina to evolve, adapt, and prove himself like never before. And that player? Well, let's just say Barcelona nearly signed him last summer. But before we talk about who the player is, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel, as this would help us achieve our target of having over 15k subs before the end of the year. Thank you, and now back to the video. See, Barcelona wasn't even supposed to be relying on Raphina like this. If things had gone according to plan, he might not even be starting every game. Why? Because last summer, Barcelona had one big name on their radar: Nico Williams. You remember how he played at the Euros, right? The kid was electric. Every time he got the ball, something happened. He had defenders doing the cha-cha against their will. The way he tore up that left wing for Spain had everyone talking. I mean, he scored 2 goals and 1 assist in 6 games. And let's not forget his club form. He was absolutely cooking for Athletic Bilbao, scoring 8 goals and having 16 assists, delivering performances that had Barca fans dreaming. The idea of Nico Williams on the left and Lamine Yamal on the right, it was almost too good to be true. That's 2 of the most exciting wingers in world football. Speed, dribbling, flair, it would have been a nightmare for any defense. And guess what? A lot of Barcelona fans were ready to make the switch. Some weren't just hyped about Nico, they were ready to sell Raphina to make space for him. That's how quickly the hype train was moving. It was looking like a done deal, except, well, it wasn't. Now, there were a couple of reasons why this transfer didn't go through. First, money. Barcelona's finances have been questionable at best in recent years, and signing Nico Williams wasn't going to be cheap. Athletic Bilbao isn't the type of club to let their star player walk away for pennies. His release clause was around 50 million euros, and for a club struggling to register players at times, that was a tough ask. Second, Hansi Flick, the new boss, took a look at this squad and thought, wait a minute, do we really need Nico Williams when we have Raphina? And that's when something clicked. Raphina realized he had a point to prove. The rumors, the speculation, the idea that he was disposable, it all fueled him. Suddenly this wasn't just about playing well, this was about survival. This was about making sure Barcelona didn't regret keeping him over Nico. And what did he do? He went off. This season, Raphina has played like a man who knows what was at stake. Every goal, every assist, every ridiculous performance, it's all been a response. It's almost as if he took it personally. So yeah, Barcelona could have had Nico Williams, but because of Hansi Flick's decision and because Raphina stepped up like never before, the deal never happened. And now, well, that raises an even bigger question. Did Barcelona make the right call? Yes. We're talking about a guy who, if the season ended today, would be a serious Ballon d'Or contender. Yes, that Raphina. The same guy who was being benched at the 60th minute mark under Xavi is now arguably the best player in the squad. 41 games, 27 goals, 19 assists. That's 46 goal contributions in 41 matches, more contributions than games played. This isn't just form, this is a complete transformation. Under Hansi Flick, Raphina has found his groove. He's not just a winger anymore, he's a leader in attack. He's thriving in a system that plays to his strengths. Flick even admitted he never coached a player like him before. That's huge. Now compare that to Nico Williams. And listen, I'm not here to say he's had a terrible season, but when you stack it up next to Raphina, it's not even close. 4 goals in La Liga, 9 goal contributions in La Liga all season. That's underwhelming. Even in the Europa League, where he's been slightly better, we're still looking at just 4 goals and 2 assists in 10 games. It's a stark contrast, especially considering that by last season he had 12 goal contributions in La Liga alone. But let's be fair, goal contributions don't tell the full story, especially for wingers. So let's look at dribbling, arguably the strongest part of both players' games. Raphina has attempted 83 dribbles this season, completing 43 of them at a 51.81% success rate. Nico, on the other hand, has attempted a staggering 137 dribbles, completing 55, but with a lower success rate of 40.15%. So if we're talking pure dribbling ability, Nico Williams is elite. But here's the issue: what comes after the dribble? Raphina has turned his take-ons into goals and assists. Nico? Not so much. So what happened to Nico Williams this season? Well, a few things. First off, the Euros. Extended tournament football means fewer holidays, more fatigue, and a rough transition back into club football. Secondly, and more importantly, the summer transfer saga changed how people see him. Instead of just letting him develop, every conversation about Nico Williams has been about how he could have fitted into Barcelona. Every time his name comes up, he's compared to Raphina's form, and unfortunately for him, Raphina has been unreal. The key difference between both of them is consistency. Raphina? He's that guy who will give you a solid 7 out of 10 almost every game. You know what you're getting. He tracks back, he presses, he'll score a couple of clutch goals, and he won't randomly disappear in big moments. That is where Nico Williams fails. This man is electric. You give him a bit of space and suddenly, boom! He's blitzing past defenders like prime Gareth Bale. The excitement factor with Nico is insane. He's that unpredictable winger who can turn a game on in seconds. But, and this is a big but, he's still figuring out how to do it consistently. Now, does this mean Nico Williams has dropped off completely? No, the guy is still only 22. His best years are ahead of him. But this season belongs to Raphina. If he keeps dropping masterclass performances, scoring goals, delivering insane assists, and leading Barca to trophies, the conversation has to happen, right? He's already proving people wrong, and if he levels up even more, suddenly we're looking at a whole different debate. And here's where things get spicy. What happens to Nico Williams? Because let's be honest, Barca isn't signing Nico for the sake of it. They see him as a long-term upgrade, a younger, more explosive option. But if Raphina turns into that guy, does Barca still throw crazy money at Nico, or do they decide, nah, we're good, we've got our world-class winger right here? It's a tough one. On one hand, Nico is young. He's got a decade of elite football ahead of him. On the other hand, football is about the now, and if Raphina is dropping Ballon d'Or level performances, how do you justify benching or replacing him? So, what do? Do they sell Raphina or keep both Raphina and Nico Williams? Well, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and while you're at it, watch our latest video on Lamine Yamal's scary new plan.